hear you through the microphone.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, and
I
maybe
don't
it's
even
my
think about
hearing.
that microphone being there.
Maybe it's my hearing.
That's the best way.
Yeah.
You don't need to pay attention to the microphone as much. I mean,
Turn it on and keep it on. It should pick it up.
exactly.
If I say something you don't hear me, throw a dart over here or something.
Beth, there is one
Yeah.
copy.
It's a little.
Yeah. Of this right
How are you guys doing?
I reckon.
Other than,
Not bad. Other than no power all night.
I was thinking, I was gonna suffer because I'd only have one cup of coffee, but I'm not even gonna say that now. To
Yeah.
have no
just
electricity,
gonna-
that's awful.
You just gonna be a whiny baby this morning?
Yeah. Jim is in real agony, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's so tough.
Is it time? Yeah. Okay, well, this meeting is called to order.
Okay.
We have minutes from the last meeting. Have you guys had a chance to look at these?
I did. I think they're fine.
Okay. Max, how about you? You looking at them now?
Yeah, they look fine.
Okay, all right, the minutes are accepted as presented, and we will move on to the ballot order.
So this is,
That's this list.
it's this,
Oh,
I just
okay.
have one for you
Okay.
to sign. So
Oh,
basically we took, the sheets that you did at the
Made
last
sure that we
meeting.
were all
Yes,
on
and
the
made
same
sure that
page.
everybody's numbers were all exact.
Okay.
Then we went ahead and put the numbers in
Okay,
for you to be able to, sign.
Good.
So that we can officially file this,
Right.
and, although I should change this date to August 30th. And then we made a couple of corrections, like, we had a candidate listed as an independent, he should have been listed as a libertarian.
Oh,
We
okay.
had a misspelling of one of the candidates'
Right.
names.
good.
And then we had one extra race in there that shouldn't have been listed in there. It was for Lincoln, and we looked at it as Award 3 race, but it was Award 3 and Award 4. They
Gotcha.
had just looked at the position numbers.
Okay.
But we went back over to make sure that there were no
Okay.
other,
Now, you did not insert a title where some people had
no.
requested it at our ballot draw.
No, all of
Okay.
those candidates that had requested titles, I had marked during the
Yeah.
ballot draw, so I went back to look at the clerk's list
Oh, good.
and to make sure that they had not filed
Yeah.
with the titles, and they had not, so their
Okay.
that will not appear on the ballot.
Super. Thank you for
The
your
governor,
diligence.
governor is misspelled.
Okay, then I'll correct that
You're
on there
missing an
too.
R.
Okay,
You're writing it the way I say it, governor.
No, it should be gov, G-U-V. Okay, well, yeah, go ahead and check your spelling.
Yeah, we'll
I
correct
did not check the spelling.
I just have
I
to see
assume
it.
at this point that y'all are perfect.
yeah. That's our goal, is to get
I
there.
know, but we're a long way from it, it seems. I understand. Oh, you blacked these out, so it would be for sure a proof. Huh?
Yes.
Okay, that's smart. Do we need to do a motion on this?
I don't think so. I think this is just, in the past, when we've done the ballot order, we've always just done it and then
Move forward.
moved forward,
Okay.
but I feel like we document everything else that
Right.
should be, and a copy of this will be filed with the minutes
Oh, good.
as
Okay.
well.
Okay,
Um,
super. we good on that? All right, we'll move on to write-in candidate instructions for the absentee ballot.
So I have this ballot hasn't been proved other than just what we're looking at right now.
Right.
So if you're looking down, we haven't proved candidate names. But as we were going through the process of yesterday, looking at the write-in candidates and making sure that the voters knew the process, you know, on the express vote, it's straightforward. You push the
Right.
button, it pops up, you type it in. For a write-in candidate, they have to fill in the oval and also write the candidate's name. If they only write the candidate's name and not fill in the oval, then the DS-200 doesn't catch it as a vote. So we have the ability for the absentee ballots to put special instructions on the ballot. So we added this text box up at the top for write-in candidates, just, you know, to fill in the oval completely, to write the candidate name online. So we've not done this previous, so do you like the wording? So that's kind of, you know, just to give them more information. Certainly we can insert a piece of paper that gives them that information, but we've tried to set up our absentee ballot with instructions for the voter in regards to returning it, about their ID, just one more way for us to get the message to the voters that, hey, you need to do these steps. So we thought maybe adding that on there as well.
I think it's the perfect place for it. I think that, as with anything, it's probably going to take trial and error. I would suggest maybe even putting it in 2 places.
We can't put it anywhere down on the
the-
ballot.
okay.
We have the ability in that top part in the instructions
Okay.
to add instructions. Anything else gets into
Oh,
where we're
gotcha.
counting
Yeah.
and will impact the express vote ballot. So this top part of the ballot, we have more flexibility, and we can do it there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's great. It's in the appropriate location.
Yeah.
Those are the instructions for completing the ballot.
Right.
And, you know, it's a little box there calling out the write-in.
I hate to muck up all this agreement.
Go ahead.
We were just talking about this before we started. What a write-in candidate seems to me that, based on my historical knowledge, which sometimes gets muddled, a write-in candidate is somebody that, I mean, what if I wanted to do a write-in candidate for lieutenant governor? I can't do that.
No,
Right.
you cannot.
A write-in candidate, we are causing them or requiring them to actually take more steps than these people who have their name on the ballot in order to be a write-in candidate. They're not truly, to me, a write-in candidate. They're actually people who have filed,
Yeah.
paid their money,
Paperwork.
and then had to send letters to 75 counties
Yeah.
in order to get approval to get their name somewhere out.
It's not even listed on the
Yeah,
ballot.
yeah. I'm having a little problem with this.
I mean, everything you said is true. It's because the system is, and the laws are written by the
Yeah.
parties.
Yeah.
It's a
Right.
two-party system. The parties that
Oh.
wrote the laws and drafted the statutes, they want to make it hard
Yeah.
for write-in
That's true.
candidates to be able to get on the ballot and be able to vote on, right? Same with
Yeah.
third-party
Do
candidates.
the laws tell us that we can't put the names on here?
Well, I would have to look specifically, but I would think that that's the implication, that
Of
it's
write
just
in.
write in.
Yeah.
And I don't think we could list the names on the ballot. Now, if you wanted to put supplemental information in with the ballot or at the express vote, that's a different scenario. But I don't think, like, we can put, because the law lays out how the name goes on the ballot, and it's just simply this little oval write-in and the line.
If anybody in this room were running and they went through all the business of a write-in candidate, do you think they would be told when they do all that, spend their money and write all the letters that, hey, your name won't actually be on the ballot?
Yeah, I think they probably know.
You think they do?
I think that's implicit in the
Because
write-in.
it's write it in, you have
Yeah.
to write it in.
Right.
I think.
So it's up to them to reach out to every voter in the state.
Mhm. It's
If
not
they're
an
running
easy
for a state
process
office.
for them.
No.
I mean, you're correct that it is much harder to get the word out for write-in candidates than the party candidates on the ballot. That's all accurate.
Don't
Yeah.
you just love politics? I'm done.
Okay, well, let's talk specifically about the proof. Are you
I'm good.
okay with it?
Yeah.
Max, any thoughts?
No, I'm fine with it. I think that's good. You know, the little box there, I think it's short, sweet, to the point. Clarifies the instructions on that point.
Let me ask a question. Is it possible to give as much space to the write-in box as for, there's only 2 write-in boxes. Can you expand the line space so that they have the same amount as the other candidates?
I'm not sure.
Okay,
I'm afraid that if I did that on here.
pushes things over to the next one, yeah. And I don't wanna do that, but,
Why don't you try it, and if you can.
see if you can split the
do it.
difference.
If not, that's,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
fine. I thought,
'Cause
I had the same thought
It
that
just seems like
you gotta really,
it's squishy.
really write it in there. It's
Yeah.
hard to do.
And I mean, I suppose in some respects, that is part of what you're saying about making it harder, making it so hard that it's like, So, you know, I think if you can do more space without pushing the column over to the next, give it a try and see if it'll work.
Just to space down, you know,
Yeah.
just hit
Yeah.
enter and try to, but if you can't, that's fine too.
Yeah, that would be my only thought about it. And I don't know if we give too much space to them, we may end up down the road having everybody with write-in candidates, which would really throw a monkey wrench in the works.
And I think that is like Jim brought up, we get that question a lot during the election is, well, where's the place for me to put a write-in candidate? Some states have an automatic line just
Oh, is
for
that
write-in candidates, and anyone can be a write-in candidate, and you can do like a grass movement kind of thing. Arkansas has specific laws. So whenever they see these write-in candidates, they will ask us,
Oh, yeah.
well, where is the line for this office, or this office, or this office? So we do anticipate that we will get questions in regards to that. When voters go to vote, they won't see write-ins except for these 2 offices.
Yes, okay. Okay, well, we're getting there.
Yeah, I think it looks fine other than that.
I do too.
I think it looks fine.
Okay, let's go on to write-in procedures for certification.
So, as we set up the election, we have to then take into account write-in votes. And you can't assume that everybody voted for the candidates that filed as write-in. We're gonna get a lot of people who
Right.
voted for their neighbor, or voted for, you know, whoever they wanted to write in there.
Anything's possible to type in to
Anything,
the express vote.
anything is
Okay.
possible, anything is possible to write on the ballots. And so when we do certify the election, what we'll do is we'll certify the election in the sense that we have to do images of the write-in candidates. Otherwise, we'll have to save those ballot images. Otherwise, you would have to go through every single ballot box
I wondered how that.
to review the write-in votes, even if they don't win, or even if that type of thing. So when we get to the write-ins, this is an example from the express vote, or from the DS200, of what, there's a report we can run
Oh, okay.
from the DS200, not at the polls on election night. This can be done afterwards, but our system allows us to actually look at it as well, but that's what the express vote does. Or,
Okay,
I
now
mean, that's
on-
what the,
On this one,
Filled it in,
somebody
but they didn't.
filled it in
mhm,
and didn't write anything.
Right.
So that it is, the machine counts that in one way. And then the other one, they filled in a candidate.
right.
Oh, yeah.
And if
Cool.
you'll look,
Yeah.
that's
Sweet.
exactly,
How
that's
it's-
exactly what I did.
Yeah, I kind of remember that.
So I did a ballot where I just filled in the oval,
Mm-hmm.
didn't write a name.
Right.
I did a ballot where I filled in the oval and wrote a name.
Okay.
And then I did a ballot where I just wrote in a name.
Oh, okay. And that one did not count because the oval wasn't.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's why we felt like for the absentee ballot, more so than anything else, we needed that extra set of instructions.
Yeah.
On the express vote, it's gonna be self-explanatory, but on this one, it won't.
Okay.
And then when you look at the results tape,
Yeah, okay. Sweet. Got it.
right here,
Are we passing this back?
Yeah, we've seen this.
for governor, you'll look, it shows 2 write-ins and 1 undervote.
Oh, so they're considering, when you just fill in the oval, the machine is considering that an undervote if you don't
No,
fill in a
the
name?
the machine considers the oval filled in as a vote cast for write-in.
Okay.
The one where I
Oh,
didn't
just
fill
the
in the
name.
oval
Okay,
and just
that's
wrote the
an
name, that one is the undervote.
So it's actually recording that something was filled in.
Mm-hmm, yes, and that's why we wanted to put that extra bit of information
Yeah.
on the absentee ballot, because if the voter just writes a name, it's not going to catch it.
Yeah.
And so,
The tally will not count.
exactly, and so this is why we're like, okay, you've gotta be, just more information we can give
Yeah.
to the voter.
Yeah.
So the day after the election, you guys will go through and review those votes.
Right.
And then tabulate the ones for the candidates
Yes.
who complied with the write-in procedures.
Yes, and then this is what the report will look like, in the sense that it shows they're called unassigned, so the ones where they wrote Mickey Mouse in.
Right.
Or they wrote their neighbor's name in. It will, just treat that still as a write-in vote, but it's unassigned, and then it'll actually pull out the ones that
have
are assigned
the
to the
names
names.
of the people who filed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so this will be a very, depending on
Stressful.
how many votes there are, very laborious task for us to do. John Moody from ES&S is coming tomorrow to kind of walk us through and show us if there's a simpler way to do this, but this will be something we'll have to kind of look at before we certify.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Ooh. Okay, so the write-in procedures that you're going through are not for the voters, but for our county.
For our certification, yes.
Anything else on that?
No.
Okay. Absentee ballot counting.
Okay. So, I just listed the things that we need to look at when we talk about absentee canvassing. And this has to do with the 2-page ballot. So we'll follow our normal absentee canvassing procedures. And then Tuesday morning, we'll open up the ballot-only envelopes. So our crews will have to be very careful. Because when they open up the ballot-only envelope and they're gonna take the ballot out, there needs to be 2 pages. So I take this out, page 1, page 2, both pages will have the precinct on it. If there are 2 pages there, then they can set it in and make a pile to be counted.
Okay.
If they open it up and there's only 1 page there, it will need to be set aside because the second page has an issue on it, has that issue 4 on it. If they open it up and it only has this page, but not the first page, and we will get them
Sure.
all sorts of ways, then it also has to be set aside in a different category as well. So they'll have to make a stack of countable ballots, a stack of first page ballots, if that's the only thing they have for the first page, and a stack of second page. And the reason we'll have them separated like this is when we run the ballots through the DS200, it's looking at this first page as the ballot cast marker. So whenever we run them through, I ran ballots through in sets of like 3 precincts yesterday. It counts this as a vote cast.
Okay.
If I run this by itself without its first page, it records it as a vote, but not a vote cast, which means that our numbers
Right, or not
at the
gonna
end of
be-
the evening
oh, gosh.
will not match. And it's
Why does it record it that way?
we don't know, but that's the way the system's designed and set up is it it wants these 2 pages ran in together.
Yeah,
And
because technically, it's saying
it's
you've got
one
a
precinct.
3-page ballot.
right. And it knows
Or a 3-side
it's
ballot.
looking for looking
Addition.
for this whole thing
Yeah.
as a vote cast. So when we go to do the remake, this is where it's going to
yeah.
get tricky. When we go to do the remake, before we start counting, if we have stacks of these, we can then do those on the express vote. And we can
Oh, match them up.
vote this full ballot, and then this one would be an undervote because we're missing this page. So in essence, it would be treated as an undervote. The same thing with this one. We would pull Farmington up. We would vote everything as an undervote except for this one, and it would be a vote cast.
Are there technically undervotes though if they didn't return it at all? They're not returning the ballot with the ovals just not filled in at all. They just didn't return those.
Right.
Those they decided not to vote in those election contests.
So in order for our numbers to match our total ballots cast, we want to record it as an undervote because that undervote number, when you look at the ballots, needs to match your total. So I voted for, against, and my undervotes. Those 3 numbers added up needs to match your total votes cast. If we're not recording these as undervotes, then our numbers, as
Yeah,
we
they'll
go
get all
through the reports, won't ever be matching, and it'll look like we're missing something.
I mean, yeah, you can argue it either
You-
way.
right,
You see what
I-
I mean?
I-
Like
I
they didn't
understand.
return the page, so
Right.
they decided not to vote in those contests at all. But I see the other argument that they requested the absentee ballot in the first place, and thereby, decided to vote in those contests, whether they decided to choose a candidate or not.
Well, on the 3rd page issue, it doesn't really matter what is on the other 2 sides. Those could be matched together to make a full ballot, right?
Okay,
You get you get this from Joe Blow, but you get that from Jan Smith.
right.
You don't want to match
No.
them up.
No, you don't.
Okay.
Because the numbers
Because-
wouldn't match.
Because our numbers wouldn't match. So basically, this ballot, even though it's missing a back page, represents a vote cast
Right.
by that individual. this represents a vote cast by that individual. If I treated these O, they're
It's
one
only
vote,
cast.
it's only
Okay.
one
Oh,
vote cast and we
okay,
have two.
okay.
Plus, also, they could be different precincts. So if
Oh,
you'll
good
notice, this
point.
is a
Yeah.
Farmington precinct, this is a Springdale precinct. So then that creates a whole different sets. So that's,
This is gonna be a lot of work to
Yeah,
recreate this
it
ballot.
so
Sure is.
that's the first step. So that's when they're initially going through the ballots and they're opening up the ballot only envelopes. We will have to take our time to make sure that when we're
Put
making
your
our
best people
stacks,
on it.
that this is a stack of two.
Yeah.
If I've got one ballot, when I pull it out of the ballot only envelope, it goes here. Depending on
Yeah.
which one it is, then we'll have to address that when we remake
Right.
the ballots.
Okay.
Okay?
And so when you run that first page, if
Mhm.
that's all you got, it gets run as a vote cast.
Mhm.
But you run the second page, it only gets run as a vote.
Yes.
And so when you go back and fix things or whatever you're gonna do with it, help me again understand what happens with each one of those.
Okay, so if this is caught at the beginning, so like before we start running them in, we find this in the ballot only envelopes this way,
Right,
we can recreate these on the express vote. Just like,
Okay.
like when we have ballots that we have to recreate, like the military ballots, all of that, we can recreate this on the express vote and run those through.
So, with
and
your,
then they become votes cast.
Yes,
But just for the issue in this one case. and-
just for the issue for at the beginning.
yeah,
Okay, so they get counted. Okay,
Yep.
thank
you recreate the ballot on the two-page one.
Mhm.
You recreate that, but you're leaving blank the issue 4. Is that
Right,
issue 4?
right, because this one, the only thing it's missing is issue 4.
Right.
So we'll vote exactly how this is. Issue 4 will be left blank, in essence, an
Another
undervote.
vote.
And then on this one, which was returned by itself,
Right,
you're gonna recreate a ballot with just that race or that
And everything on
issue.
that first page
marked.
would be an under.
right.
Okay.
Everything on the first page will be an
And
undervote.
if they both come back together, you're just gonna run them in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They both
Yeah.
come back together.
I mean, that makes sense. That
Yep.
seems like the best process
Good.
to account for
Right.
missing
Yeah.
first or second pages for the
And
absentee
that's
ballots.
gonna happen.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So that's at the very beginning.
Okay.
Now,
Oh, we have more.
we have more.
Then we get more interesting.
Okay. When we start to read the ballots into the DS200, we have a rejection rate because certain ballots get rejected because of the way it's folded, the
Right.
way it reads that. So when our canvassers read the ballots in, they must read in the front page first, then the second page.
Oh, not the
Because-
back?
Right. Because if I read this in and the DS200 rejects it,
Oh,
I
okay.
know to pull
That
both
one out, yeah.
pages and then I can recreate it on the express vote and it's one single vote
Yeah.
cast. If, however, I read in the front page and the second page gets rejected, this has been read into the machine.
Oh, yeah.
It's been shown to be a vote cast, but this one didn't run in. So what I'm gonna have to do for this back page is I will have to bring the BOD printer down, the absentee printer. I can then reprint this paper ballot, same precinct in, read it in, because it's not treating it as a vote cast, it's only treating it as a vote. And let me show you what I mean by vote cast. Okay. So on this sheet, in this scenario, I ran through 3 precincts. I ran in 2 precincts where I had both front and back page, and I ran in 1 precinct where I only had the back page. So my public count shows as 2, and I have total votes here, actually, no, sorry, let me rephrase this. I ran in, that's what I ran in, 2 precincts, full precincts, where I only ran in the back page, and I ran in 3 of those, it shows as 3.
Okay. This is still, your numbers are gonna be all right.
Eventually, when we do our remakes, our numbers will be
Okay.
correct,
Okay.
but we have to keep track of it. So that scenario, I ran in 2 ballots that were complete, 2 ballots that were complete, and then I ran in just 1 back page. And then that's what I'm showing you, is that when you just read in the back page, it doesn't treat it as a vote cast, it just treats it as a vote.
So, just as a vote, meaning that
What does
someone
that
voted
mean?
in that
Yeah.
contest.
In that
But
contest.
it doesn't record the selection that they made within the contest.
It records that, if you'll look
The
on,
issue.
it records that for the issue. What it doesn't record is, you know how we need to know our total votes cast, and that matches the number of people we checked in, the number of absentee ballots?
Yep.
So on that one, I have 3 votes for issue 4,
Okay.
but I only have 2 votes cast. And that's because I only read in the back page.
And that's because that page doesn't have, the last page doesn't have the markings that the machine picks up for it to be a
For it,
vote
right.
cast.
Seems like a programming issue on ES&S's part. If
It's-
the DS200 thinks of the ballot being 2 pages, it should reject even the first page if the second page it doesn't have a vote, or it rejects the second page. You see what I mean? I mean,
I
it should
do.
reject both of them if it thinks of it as a 2-page
But the
ballot.
DS200 is only rejecting a ballot if it can't read something.
In real time. But
In
that's
real-
but that's an issue.
Right. So when I do, on this one, I ran in 3 front pages and 2 back pages.
Oh.
So if you look at the front, it shows there's 3 votes cast, but on the back, when you look at issue 4, it only shows that there's 2 votes cast because I failed to have that page. So whenever the DS200 rejects a ballot, if it accepts page 1 and not this one, as long as I recreate this ballot on the BOD and print it out and read this in, our numbers will always match.
Yeah.
If I try and recreate it on the express vote, it's going to treat that as a whole new ballot, and then it'll show we had an extra vote.
Yeah. But you're gonna have to recreate that second page in real time.
I
And then
can.
and then immediately run it in.
We can set them, we can run small batches, and then we can set it up to where we know that we're missing these back pages, because we'll have what we're missing. When we recreate those, then it will,
You can run those in and they'll match it back up.
and
to
then
that.
when we add that stick in, it matches it back up.
So
Wow.
our wonderful machine that never works is
Yeah.
not gonna be at all
No.
valuable in this.
No,
Other than counting the 2-page ones.
but if it
What if
rejects
what-
them and
it's
it doesn't keep
rejected?
them together,
Yes.
then
It's
we
useless
don't
to
know.
Well, we need more DS200s then. This is gonna be a major slowdown
Well,
on
we'll-
election night.
we'll
Because
have-
this process is gonna take a long time, and
Yeah, this is,
it's gonna take longer
Labor
than you
intensive.
think it is on election night.
Yes, and we'll have 8 DS200s.
okay.
Yeah, I feel like that's,
Now,
I don't, yeah,
That's all we have.
minimum. See, that's what I'm saying.
That's it,
So, but we'll need to start counting earlier.
right, yeah.
Even though, so we'll need to start, let's say we start opening up the ballot-only envelopes at 9, we'll need to start counting at 10 or 11.
How many absentee ballots do we
Right now,
expect
we're
to
at like
get?
300 something.
Yeah.
So for a general election in the past, the most, if you exclude 2020,
Yep.
the most we've ever had is like 2,000.
Yeah.
So, and maybe
Still.
we'll get to that for the general, I don't know, but that's where we're at right now.
Well, what you're saying is, we need to get this process refined for 2024, because this is gonna, if we have to do this, if we do have a 3 or 4 page ballot, then it's gonna really muck up the works.
Right. Yeah, because you can't just go in and, like, you know, let's say it takes page 1, doesn't take page 2. I can't just go over to the express vote and create the ballot, because I'm adding a vote.
You've already counted it.
Exactly. And if you add votes, then your numbers, because at the end of the day, you need to know I had 20 absentee ballots. I need to have 20 votes cast. And so I've
No
got
overs, no unders.
right.
Yeah.
I've got to know that all matches. And election night, what may happen is I have 20 absentee ballots that were returned and accepted. I have 19, you know, let's say it rejects. I have 19 votes cast. I'm going to have to say, well, I've got these 2 rejected ballot or 1 rejected ballot that we have to recreate. We'll have to set up a system of keeping track of our recreated ballots. Now, for the primary, our rejected ballots and everything, we did keep good records and everything matched perfectly. You know, we were able to put everything together. We're going to have to do it even better than we did. It's more complicated.
It's going to have to be more controlled.
It is. It's going to have to be more controlled. It may be something that we have to do the next day for the recreation. So some of these things we'll just have to.
And that may be the way to go in order to ensure the accuracy and not last minute. I mean, that's one thing I don't like, when they bring the ballots here from out there, and it seems out of control. It seems a little happenstance, and you don't feel like you've got the kind of necessary control that I'm not saying they're not doing it right, but it is it doesn't appear to have the kind of cohesion that we need to demonstrate in the process.
Starting the counting at 10 a.m. is a good idea.
Yes, I agree.
For the absentee ballots.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just another reason to encourage voters to vote early rather than by absentee. If you're voting by absentee, your ballot's much less likely to be counted based on Arkansas laws, and it's 10 times the work for the election commission on the back end.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So we've expanded early voting significantly over the years. We're doing it again this election cycle. It's just another reason to encourage people to vote early rather than by absentee.
Good point.
And I think our system for the primary, where we had the express vote ballots with the pre-printed numbers on them, I think that helped greatly, because not only did they bring you a ballot to remake, but it had a number written on it, and you were matching it to the number for the express vote ballot. When we do this system, we'll set up a system where it's something similar to that. We'll have to sit down and make a plan for that. But these are the kind of things that I don't want to wait till, like, when we start canvassing absentee ballots and then we're trying to make a plan. I want the commission to know, okay, this is what we're doing, but also the public to know this is how we're going to be treating these ballots, and this is why we're treating these ballots this way, so that there's no surprises on election day. If we have a lot of remakes that maybe have to be remade the other day, because this requires me to essentially, I have to bring the BOD, the ballot on demand printer, the ballot on demand computer to set up and go through and print out these ballots. So we'll have to have some type of accounting system for the ones that we printed off of the BOD when we're remaking them.
Well, I just think the fewer remakes we have to do, the better we
Oh,
are.
obviously, yes.
I think you're probably going to do this, but someone needs to be responsible for that week. process on
Yeah.
election day, and it cannot be you.
No, I
It has
know,
to
and
be
so we've got to figure out.
somebody else who is completely responsible for
Yeah.
it, because you
Right.
have plenty with election day
Yeah.
Yeah.
activities going on. This is great. Thanks for bringing it to our attention now and thinking through it
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
recognizing the issue, months ahead of time, so we can plan for it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, I plan on visiting with John tomorrow about this and kind of getting a game plan, but I think it's something too to share with the other counties.
Definitely.
So that
It's
they're
a
not,
great idea.
because I think everybody's gonna have a 2-page ballot, because this is,
Well, by
it's
itself.
just,
Yeah.
it's its own ballot,
Yeah.
basically. And if you've got a school millage on your ballot, I don't think anybody's not gonna have a 2-page ballot. So I think the whole state kind of needs to make a plan, make a statement. This is what, this is
Yeah,
maybe,
think ahead on this
you know,
process.
this is what it's going to be like. So, but yeah, we'll come up with a plan as we go along to figure out an accounting system for this. But I just wanted the commission, because these go out soon.
Soon,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Please,
Oh, my
thank you for, it's a great point. Once you come up with the plan, let's share it with the other counties.
Yeah.
And then with the state board. And
Absolutely.
encourage them to disseminate it to the counties with whom we don't have,
Right.
ongoing
working
direct
through this?
relationships.
I don't think they've thought of this yet.
Yeah,
One of the reasons, because we're
They're depending
PWO
on you.
County.
they are. I mean, it's
Well,
yeah,
we have the
it's
advantage
usual
that we're
process.
already in
Yeah.
this side
Yeah.
of it, and we're
Truth is
already
the truth.
thinking about it.
Right.
So
It
yeah.
is.
Okay, well, yeah, keep us in the loop here.
Yep,
Keep
great
the
work.
state in the loop, and my prayers are with you.
Yeah, this is 2-page
Bless your
ballots
heart.
are not.
We can still hope that the issue 4 is knocked off the ballot, right? Wouldn't that solve all of our problems?
I wouldn't hold your breath.
No.
I know,
Yeah.
I know.
I don't.
Sort of. It
I know.
still would create an accounting issue.
Yeah,
But we just have to look at it
right.
from there.
Well, okay, we've beat
Those
this
things
horse
is
to
sooner
death
or
for
later.
now.
Mhm.
Translations, what do we got on translations? You learned Spanish yet?
No, I wish. I really do
I
wish
know.
that I had paid more
Me
attention in
too.
school. One of the requests I did make from the Secretary of State's office that I haven't got any, I know that they're looking at it, but I would like to see the issues translated into Spanish, as well as the Washington County special election issue translated into Spanish. One of the feedback that I got from our translators at the polls on election day was, when they sit there and translate the ballot for the voter at the booth, it's easy to go through the names and the instructions, but when they have to sit there and then translate all the wording for the issues, that becomes time consuming. So if we could have the issues translated into Spanish and then be able to just say,
Hand them a sheet.
here is issue 1 through 4 translated into Spanish, here's the Washington County special election translated into Spanish, then that frees up our poll workers who are translators to be able to assist other voters rather than having to translate the whole thing while it's on the ballot.
Sure.
So if the state doesn't get those items translated, I would request that the commission, that we move forward with doing it on our own.
We've done it in the past.
We've not ever translated the body, the text,
Oh,
and so
just
this
the
would,
rest of it. We've
Yeah.
done
but
the-
we have it on audio, right? For-
it's in English.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not in Spanish.
Has the
Oh.
state ever translated it in the past?
Mm-mm.
They never have. I knew we had with the rest of the ballot,
Yeah.
but not.
Yeah, not the verbiage, and so
Uh-huh.
that would be
Okay.
what I would be requesting, that we go ahead and move forward.
We'll make the ask. Yeah, ask the state to do it.
I
Cool.
haven't gotten,
Good. No, no
Fact.
response yet.
but
Can we put each one of the issues on the wall or on one of our, whatever those things are called, those plastic things? Can we put them on there in the do we have other languages besides Spanish that we would need to do that? to?
Marshallese would be the only other
Oh,
one, that I think that we would need, maybe something translated in. We do post at the polls the sample ballots, but also the issues, and we'll go ahead and add this posting with it as well, and then make it available, you know, as a
As a
handout,
yeah.
for the voter who needs it at the booth. So,
Have you
but
ever considered having it available on our website?
if I can get them, yes, then I'll go ahead and add these to our website
That's a good
as our thing. But
Yeah.
no, I can definitely do that as well.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I think we should do that. I mean, I think we should make the ask from the state to do
Right.
it first, and
Well, I mean,
if
it
they
makes
don't,
perfect sense. They have 75 counties they could
Yeah.
shoot it out to.
yeah, definitely. If the state
Yeah,
won't,
not all of them have the percentage of, Spanish speaking
Maybe not.
or Marshallese speaking as we
Yeah.
do, so that
Right.
that's
it might
true.
not be something that the state would be.
There's a, you're right, it's not all counties, but it's a lot of counties.
is a lot,
It's a
yeah.
lot. Well, it's good, yeah, ask the
It would
state,
be
and
a
if the,
public service.
definitely would.
You always ask.
Yeah.
Yep, and if
You
the
never know till you ask.
definitely. If the state won't do it, then yeah, we should do it.
Yeah. Okay, let's go on to an update on limited early vote sites. American Legion and Tawnytown Hours.
We are going to go visit with the American Legion today to look at their calendar and see about adding that to our early vote schedule. We're also going to go meet with the city of Tawnytown. They have 2 meetings scheduled on the 25th and November 1st, which would require us to either close early vote down, close early on those 2 days, and then reset back up that night. But I'm hoping that maybe one of those we can, or maybe they might move
Have it
both
somewhere
of them.
else.
So we're gonna go visit with the city of Tawnytown today to make that request and kind of visit with them about that. We did have to do it for the primary election. We closed at 4:30 on one of those days, and then we went back and set back up so that we were ready to go the next morning at 8 o'clock. So I do have those highlighted. And then I did hear from Bud Walton. He is narrowing down the dates for us. He gave me, so I think today, hopefully, we'll have dates. Let me check my email, because I'm like,
Yeah, there you
because
go.
he emailed me last night, and I emailed him with the dates that I thought would be appropriate. So yeah,
Okay, so you've got a yellow highlighting, which means those are problematic dates, is that correct?
yes,
And then the salmon color is, we're still working on it?
yes, that's that, or there are limited sites so that it just pulls out for
Okay.
you. And then this is kind of like like when we would go and tear down, because I also have to coordinate.
Right.
I also have to coordinate our staff to tear
Yeah.
down and move things. We did have Covenant and
Oh, yeah.
Tawnytown open on both Saturdays.
Mhm.
I don't know if the commission, if you want to continue that for the general election.
Ideally, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's why I just have noted that as well.
Okay.
So,
Okay, now, did you investigate anything over at Jones Center?
no, but I will,
Okay.
I wanted to follow through and see what, availability American Legion had today, and then we'll look
Okay.
at the Jones Center, as an alternative.
Yeah.
So,
Looks good, good update, thank you.
Yeah. Keep working.
narrowing it down, September 7th, then I can't mess with
I
it
know,
anymore.
we're running
But
out of time.
we're getting close.
Goodness.
So, yeah.
Okay, anything else on that? All right, number 8, voter information. These are the class, or maybe you don't call them classes. This is your public outreach.
Yes, yes. So this Thursday, I'll be doing a voter education seminar at Sources for Community for Independent Living. And basically, it is walking through how to fill out voter statements, how to ask for assistance at the polls. Like, you know, a lot of voters sometimes don't know that our express votes have audio, you know, lowering it into the seated position and just different things like that. And so this will just be, you know, reaching out to that community. They have other things, I think, at this event too, but that will be what I will be speaking on.
You won't be bringing any equipment, you'll just be presenting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. And then the September 15th, that's the Talk and Lunch Seminar. That will be with all the assisted living and nursing home directors, as many who can come, to talk to them about, you know, how can they help, you know, the people at their facilities, making sure that their voter statements are filled out correctly so that we're not rejecting them for the simple errors of not having their birthday on it. And because they do live in these assisted living or nursing homes, you know, making sure the ID part of it, because that's simple. All that director has to do is just fill out a form that states, I'm the director, this person is the person who, you know, says they are, and turn that in. They don't have to have that traditional form of ID. Just going over those type of things so that we can make sure that we're not rejecting any of those absentee ballots for unnecessary reasons.
I think that's crucial.
And then October 19th, that will be here at the courthouse, and that's through the Osher Learning Center. That's how people can sign up for it, but it's just going to be how elections are conducted in Washington County. I did it last year, and they've asked if I would do it again this year.
Yeah, that's great.
I'll do it in
Cool.
here. So, and we'll go over LNA and certification and all those things that we do to make sure that, you know, our elections are secure, you know, and that you can trust the results. So that.
Yeah, that's great. What about recording that, putting it online? Think there's any value in that?
I don't know. I'd have to look and see. I'm depending on the classroom size. Last time there was only 15 people who signed up, so we just sit around the horseshoe. If more people sign up, we'll
They
flip
have to
it.
be back there.
Yeah, so
okay.
I think it just depends on
Yeah,
that.
something to
So,
think about.
but the document that I do make for that, because I have a manual, I can certainly look at posting that online. So,
Oh, those are great. The more we can do that now, the better it'll be throughout the election process. All right, we have number 9, training. You don't have enough to do you?
So we have the high school students want to participate as the poll workers. And so right now we have Fayetteville High School, which has about 80 students who want to sign up. Archer Learning Center, Springdale High School, Don Tyson School of Innovation all have students who want to sign up. I have a group of students from Haas Hall, and then we'll Harbor. Whenever I talk to Springdale, I don't know. I can reach out to Harbor and see. I don't have a good contact at Harbor, but I know Springdale High School. We've worked with them in the past. I've not ever had any students from Harbor, but then we'll reach out to the smaller schools too, Elkins, Lincoln, Farmington. If any of those school districts are interested, this will be when we'll have it set up for the students to come for the training so that they can participate as poll workers. You know, our Springdale students are great. A lot of them are bilingual, and we actually have a couple that are Marshallese, so that definitely is something, you know, that we want to take advantage of by having them
That's awesome.
at the polls for us. And then we'll do supervisor training. I'll do the students in the morning because bus schedules, we had to figure that out. So I'll do the students in the morning. We'll do the supervisors in the afternoon. A couple of things we'll have to go over with the supervisors is the assisting voter limits.
Oh,
unless
that
something,
no longer exists.
right, so unless something changes, we'll need to go over that with them as well.
Yep.
But we also have waiting that I've not heard anything back is the voter ID law. You know, that affirmation of identity, you know, that was removed, but there was a lawsuit filed, and then that lawsuit
that
was kind of
still
put
in?
on hold until after the primary.
Yeah.
So
I haven't kept
hopefully, I have not seen anything. A ruling comes out soon, just to let us know how do we need to
Either
train
way.
our poll workers, but also for the voters who are requesting absentee ballots. Absentee ballots will go out towards the end of September.
Oh, yeah.
That changes the voter statement.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you would hope that somewhere it's on a docket and someone's going to make a ruling soon, so we kind of know.
Or we just proceed as we are right
We
now.
Yeah.
we will, yes,
definitely.
yes. So, but once absentee ballots go out, then
Right.
it's more difficult because
Yeah.
you would have one set of rules for absentee voters, and then you're going to change it for in-person voting. So they don't like to do that.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Can you find out what the status of that is? Is the state involved in that?
I put in I wrote out an
Okay,
email to the,
okay.
and that was one of the questions I asked. I'll follow up
Okay,
with Chris
good.
and see if
Yeah,
he knows
see if
anything
Chris
else.
knows.
But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
You can
then you've
also,
got
if you send me
refresher.
the case number, the docket name,
Oh.
I can look it up.
Oh,
You
okay,
could do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Case name, docket number.
Okay,
if you have
yeah,
it.
I'll look that up then and send it to you.
Helps to be inside on these things, doesn't it?
Helps to know how to do it.
Yeah, really. Okay, and then you've got poll worker training, new poll worker training in the beginning of October.
Yes, so far we've had 13 come through orientation that I had. We have another 20 applications downstairs
Good.
to get them to come through. So we'll,
You
keep
feel like
adding.
you're in good shape?
I will not say that.
I know,
because-
I know. But I mean, you
But
feel
yes,
like
we
you're
do.
moving in that
Yes,
direction. How about
yes.
that?
So
Okay.
yes.
But we don't turn poll workers away.
No.
You still need more.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Always.
Yes, and bilingual poll workers
Oh, yeah.
always,
Yep.
would love to have, the students are great and we love the students, but would love to have bilingual Marshallese poll workers,
Oh,
as
Yeah.
well. Right now we have a handful of Spanish poll workers who are bilingual, but we don't have a Marshallese.
yeah. Okay. Okay, anything else on training? How about other business? Anything?
Ma'am.
Okay, we have our meeting, is that next week?
Yes.
Okay. Man, how can August be over? Next Wednesday. And then October the 13th, moving close to early vote. All right, any other meetings that crop up? We'll have to figure that out. We are adjourned. Pardon me? Oh, okay.
Maybe you covered this, or maybe I just missed it, but could you explain, so if a voter turns in one page, does that mean that that vote won't be counted if none of their votes will be counted?
No. Let's go ahead and you can ask those questions of Jennifer.
I think the public might wanna hear that, but.
We did go over all of that. Beth.
Yeah, we
So,
did.
Yeah, we
did.
covered all of that. No, Jennifer, go ahead and give an explanation here.
So if they only turn in the back page, that vote will be counted. So yes, it will be counted. That's just one of the things that, for voters who are voting absentee, they must be super careful about how they return their information to us, and including both pages of the ballot, because unfortunately, what we've seen happen in the past is a voter will pack up everything, mail it to us, and then they'll find their voter statement sitting on the kitchen table. Or, heaven forbid, they find the page of the ballot sitting on the kitchen table. And at that point, they can't bring it up and add it to their ballot that they've turned into us. Their only option would be if they knew that they have failed to return their voter statement or one of the pages of that, they could, if they've mailed it in, there's
Yeah,
no
it's too
other.
If a
Even
voter returns all required documents and complies with the absentee laws and returns one of the two pages, the page that they return, those votes
That will
will
be
be
counted.
counted. The other one page won't be counted. This discussion was really more for our
Procedural.
Procedure.
Yeah.
specific.
The
Yeah.
process that we have to go through to make sure that they're counted.
And we're talking about it, of course, because people, have questions about it and they want to oversee the process
Yeah.
and see our absentee counting. So that was kind of why we talked about it. But if somebody returns just one or two pages, definitely those votes will be counted.
Well, that was my question.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not gonna throw out a vote if it's
Yeah.
been returned
No.
and is legal in all other ways. We don't have that option.
That's what, I just didn't understand that. So
Okay.
when would the remake come in that you were talking about?
On
Remakes-
election day.
Remakes, if we've got a paper ballot that is rejected by the machine, or say somebody has some markings on it, that the machine just says, this is not gonna go through. We've got to physically either enter that information on the express vote, and in order to do that, that's the remake process. We have to take, the little ballot, put it in the express vote, and we do this in pairs, right? And so that there's oversight, we make the choices on the screen from what are on the paper ballot. And then that vote is, you attach them after you vote it, right?
What we've done in the past and what we'll probably do is any remakes that we have to do, we'll set aside and we'll remake those. Those get run through their own
Right,
DS200, so that helps us keep track and accounting for those remakes that we made. We don't like to mix the two because then,
You can't find
it's-
it.
You can't, yeah.
You-
It just
If you've got a
keeps it clean.
mistake in there, it's a whole lot harder to find. She could probably do it, though.
So, but yeah, it just, for accounting purposes, it makes it easier if we run the remakes in through one machine. That way, if, let's say, even when, because a person is, election officials are remaking them, if we find that there was a mistake made, I don't have to throw out all the good ballots. I can just focus on that narrow set that we've had to do.
Okay. Are we good?
More questions?
All right. This meeting is adjourned.